Oh, I dig them. I dig them glasses, Vicky.
Hey, thank you.
Amen. Amen.
How's it
How y'all
going,
doing
guys?
tonight?
Doing good. How you doing?
Doing really good. Thank you.
Good,
Thank you
good,
for
good.
having us
Thank
on
you.
tonight. Appreciate
No
that.
doubt.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I
Appreciate you, man.
actually, hey, I appreciate you guys sharing some of your time with me. I think I was muted during the intro. I think.
I think you
Yeah, I
were
Yeah,
think
too.
you were too.
yeah. So that's okay. But let me reintroduce them. That's okay. Things happen. Uh, Welcome everyone to a Toast of the Man Network by way of Thought Provoking Tuesdays with SD. Got two special people with me, Victoria and Abdul from On the Spot. Man, they got a live IG live show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Is that correct, guys? 8 p.m.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
called on the spectrum. It's called On the Spectrum, by the way. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
on the spectrum.
Yep.
Mhm.
Man, that show is like no other. So the topics you guys aren't afraid to touch on, and so
Right.
I'm inspired every time I tune into it. So thank you guys. Thanks for joining me.
Appreciate
Thank
you,
you.
man.
So
Thank you. Thank you.
man, I want to give the people a little brief history because I know people are wondering probably like how does he know these guys? And so I'll give a brief history. I met Victoria by way of or through Soul Immortal, my brother Soul Immortal. I guess
Mhm.
about maybe a year ago. Yeah,
Yep.
probably a year ago. And man, I met Abdul through Victoria, and so through their show. And so I tuned in, and that's how I became acquainted with Abdul. And yeah, we chopped up a couple of times. They brought me on about a week or two ago, and so that
Yep.
was fun. And
Yep.
so, how did you two come together to make that show, though? Before we get into it, what made you two say we need to come up with a show? We need a platform.
Yeah. Vicky, go ahead. I'll let you
You
answer.
want to? Okay, so one day we were sitting down and Abdul had a soggy quesadilla. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's an inside joke. But
That's funny.
the idea for the show, it actually, I think it really just started from our blossoming friendship. Um, Abdul and I became friends, obviously offline. We used to work in the same space, and we kept in touch. He was one of the ones that kept in touch with me after I relocated from Houston up north to New England. And we would talk. We would talk openly, very raw and open and honestly about relationship topics and just life and the world and things like that. And he made me feel really good about our conversations, not only because he provided this space where I could open up and express myself, but I feel like I provided the same for him. And
Uh,
one day he told me, he was like, I just really love your insight on different things. I feel like people should hear what you have to say. Like these conversations are so dope. I feel like more people should hear it. And, I was very nervous about coming online on Jeff Bezos' internet because I was just like, I don't want to be like on a platform and people are judging me and, oh, no makeup. And I just didn't want to deal with it.
right.
But as we started the show and started getting all this amazing feedback, people would hit me up in my DM. They'll be like, I actually really love what y'all are doing. This is a conversation I feel that we should have had. This,
Mhm.
I was getting all this great feedback. And it gave me the courage to keep going. I was like, oh shit, Abdul, I think we got something special.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt. I
Amen.
agree. Yeah, you
Mhm.
guys do have something special. The chemistry is apparent. Yeah, you guys got a good chemistry, good content, and yeah, it just flows. So yeah, I get
Yeah.
something out of it every time I tune in. But a
Thanks, man.
little bit about Victoria. I wrote down a few things. A digital creator, a yogi, a globe trotter. Man, every time I'm looking at her page, she's somewhere trying different
Yeah.
foods. A foodie. I'd say she's a foodie, and a
Mhm.
chef. Yes, a chef. Man, my brother Abdul, author, man, that warms my heart. He's an author, next generation training. Well, he's you can correct me on this, but he's taken it to another level of giving the athlete, the high school athlete or the college athlete, a regimen to take them to the next level. Is that correct?
Amen. Yes, sir. 100%.
And physical fitness guru. Man, this brother, I was like, damn, man, this brother in shape. So he motivates me to get in the gym. Victoria motivates me to travel more. So yeah.
Amen.
Amen. So let's get into it, y'all. Man, let's get into it. There's a lot going on right now in the world. A lot of killings, men, and that'll never get old. But the relationship between the man and the woman, and I just see a lot of stuff going on. But what brought up this first topic is, should men mess with the girl who likes them instead of messing with the girl they like? And actually, I got that from a pimp I saw on White Soft Belly on YouTube. And he said that was one of the lessons he learned, to only mess with women who like him, not the ones he necessarily likes. Now, that's not saying that he doesn't like the women who like him, but when it's off balance, when he's liking a woman, he found out when he liked a woman and she didn't like him, he dealt with a lot of mess he usually wouldn't have to deal with, and it just took him off balance. And I started thinking about, my life in the past, and other guys I see, and I really find that to be true. I mean, what do you guys' thoughts on that?
Well, I'll if you don't mind, Vicky, let me go ahead and say a little something. Here's what I've noticed, and there's like this unspoken dynamic between women and men, and I think there's really no easy way to explain it other than a woman has to have a certain amount of respect and adoration for you in order for that relationship, what I found anyways, to work, right? And so she has to kind of, and I'm going to use our brother Kevin Samuels, and I'm going to say it the way he said it. He said it is, she has to look at you and feel like you're better than her to a degree, right? There has to be a healthy respect there, obviously. But I think that if that woman likes you and she has a certain amount of respect for you, right? You never fall victim, either one of you two. You never fall victim to those power dynamics within the relationship, right? Now, on the flip side, if men solely spend their time and attention directed at the women that they like, that age-old saying, if you chase women, you're gonna lose money, but if you chase money, you're never gonna lose either, right? I think that there should be proper focus on what you spend your time on as a man, and very rarely should it be chasing a woman, in my opinion. And so, I mean, I can't tell a man what to do, mess with the woman that likes you versus the one that you like, but I found that it works better if you tend to focus on the things that you need to. And more importantly, the woman that's supposed to be in your space helping you with what you have going on tends to come around. And so that's been my experience with it.
That's the perfect segue. As far as how I feel, and we've said this on our show On the Spectrum, a man that doesn't know his purpose, first and foremost, or where he's going in life, aka the mission, it doesn't really matter if you like the woman or she likes you or mutual, because even when she comes into your life, now what? You don't even know where to lead her. Exactly. So the most important thing I feel is for the man to understand where he's going in this life, on this plane, in this realm. Where is he going? And know that while men are on their purpose and doing what they need to do, they will naturally stop focusing on women And in turn, the universe will send women to them. And then you can filter out, okay, now that these women are coming my way, as I'm walking my path, who do I like out of the women that are crossing my path? Who do I like? What do we have in common? Can I see myself with her? What is her place in my life, in my space, et cetera, et cetera?
Right. I totally agree that the man's primary focus should be on his mission, honing his skills, his gifts, his talents, and you'll draw what you're supposed to draw.
Yes.
But sometimes I think you can draw a bunch of stuff, and it's hard to decipher which one should I attach myself to. I look at, a lot of times, I'll take a look at celebrities and things that's going on because it gives the people, the masses, a chance to see from a broader view, like, man, this goes on in everyday life too, but they're just on the big stage, right?
Right.
So a few years ago, you had a bunch of women saying, hooray for Ciara, for leaving Future and getting with Russell Wilson, right? Right? She married up. She married up. Now, recently, we see Lori Harvey dump my man Michael B. Jordan, good guy, from all accounts. I've never, from all accounts, a good guy. I would put him kind of in the same lane as a Russell Wilson. I mean, he's not a Future. We can say that.
I don't think. Well, it depends on who you talk to. I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, not a bad thing at all. Not a bad thing at all. I made a video on that actually. I didn't agree with the whole square thing. I think a square is cool. So those are the guys that are winning. Whatever a square is, but I consider a guy, staying out of trouble, focused, not about the shenanigans. If that's a square, I'm all for it, right? But so it made me think, like, what do women want? So you got guys looking at this. It's like, damn, okay, this guy's successful, no kids, straight lace, and she dumps him. But then people cheer for Ciara getting rid of Future. It's like, damn, what's going on here? Go ahead.
I think that, and I don't know the whole. I'm not caught up on gossip, so I'm not sure. But just from optics, right? Just from taking a look at Lori Harvey and Michael B. Jordan, from what I understand, prior to her dealing with him, she was kind of around the way a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right about that?
Around the way a lot bit.
Okay, right. A lot bit. Okay, all right, cool. So that age-old saying, and I know it's denigrating to a way, but you can't turn a hoe into a housewife. It's just impossible. You can't do it. And from what I understand, I did read a small snippet on the situation, and I think it was a mutual parting, not necessarily her dumping him, but I think it was a mutual parting mainly because he wanted to go further with the relationship. He was interested in making things go, the next step. Let's get married, have children, etc. From what I understand, she wasn't interested in that. And I don't know her. I don't know him. But from being around men who have had success, and then being, as a byproduct, being around women who have had some success, they are concerned with their image often, right? That's their, let's just be honest. I don't know what Lori Harvey does. I don't know what her claim to fame is other than her image, from what I can gather. I don't know if she makes music or she does any other type of business. I'm not sure. So when you get married, have children, that changes. And, for her, now she's questioning, what would I do if I put all my eggs in one basket, got married, had children? Now I'm just a wife and a mom, right? And so from what I can gather, that's not anything she was interested in giving up, because that was her identity. her identity was the beautiful woman, you know, the hard to get woman, etc.
Yeah.
Right.
And so,
but go ahead.
And for him, you know, it's the next step. You know, he's a young, attractive man who's had some success. I don't feel like he's the best actor, but you know, he does his thing. You know, he does what he needs to. But you know, he's successful. He's the next phase for him is to create a lineage, right? Is to create some children. So, what else is there for him to conquer? And in my opinion, if she can't meet that standard, you know, you gotta part ways with him, and I that makes sense to me. So,
right. See, and that goes back to what you stated, that a woman has to feel like, how do you state it, that a man is maybe a step above her, or she attached herself up. I don't think this happens if she felt like she couldn't do any better, or she did the best she could do. I don't think this happens. But
I agree.
Yeah, she's around.
I genuinely think that she feels her career, whatever that is, I don't know what the hell it is, but her image is more important than being a wife and a mother, which is sad, in my opinion. That's a sad take to take. So
yeah, but I think, and I agree, but I think it's deeper than the career. I think she has access to all kinds of men, billionaires. Yeah. He's not in that status, right? And she's young, relative to him. She's young. And I've heard many women tell me personally about past relationships, and I've heard many women say they will leave a guy or have left a guy if he's boring. If he's boring. I know that sounds simple, man, but I've never heard a guy say he dumped a girl because she's boring. I don't think that matters to us, but women have done it. I've heard women say they've done it because he's boring. You know, you got a guy, never seen him out partying really. She's young. She has access to men that are, you know, a pay grade above him. I mean, I just don't think it happens if she felt this is the best she can do and she won. Like, she hit the jackpot. She has the prize. I don't think men really... most men don't think about that. I don't think, even if we think if we can do better, I don't think that stops us from marrying a woman. I think most men are just concerned about what we're into, like what makes us feel good, what supports us. You know,
I would say that.
Yeah,
I would say that. Vicky, you got? I don't want to talk too much.
No. I was just thinking what you were saying about, I guess, like women leaving if he's boring. A lot of women are in relationships with men that are not necessarily like all that interesting. But I don't know if just boring is enough. Like maybe if there's no guidance plus he's boring, then perhaps, but I don't know.
You don't think just straight out boring is enough to end the relationship though? No.
No, but I also think it depends on the woman. This is definitely just like the title of our show, On the Spectrum. It's a gradient. It really depends on the woman you're talking to. Some women will leave their relationships for the tiniest things that make no sense, but some, you know, they could have a whole Derrick Jackson and they're still staying. So so, I mean, it depends. It depends. I don't know. But
I was saying, I'm sorry, go ahead.
To touch on the whole men not leaving women because they're boring, I got to be honest with you. In my opinion, my observation, most women are boring. I rarely meet a lot of very stimulating women. And I'm talking about stimulating aesthetically, stimulating intellectually, stimulating curiosity-wise. very rarely can I sit down across a table of women and have a conversation that spans from childhood to the cosmos. Very rarely can I do that with women. So I don't find most women are that funny. I'm just listen.
Don't
I'm
hold
with
back.
you. No, I want to ask
Listen.
this. No, go ahead. I'm
Well,
with you.
I'm glad,
But
I'm glad
yeah,
you're
no,
saying it.
no.
I'm glad you're
So
saying it, not me though.
yeah, but I agree with you. No, I don't think men are leaving women because boring, because y'all have evolved over time to not seek out she has to be funny in order to be a compatible partner. There's other things that I'm looking for that have to be there in order for this to be like, okay, yeah, I can lock this down. But most women are fucking boring. I'm sorry. And I find myself out often being like, dear God, is this what y'all have to choose from? What is it?
Yes, to answer your question, yes. Two things. To the last point, men don't practice hypergamy. That's what women do, right? Like women are consistently trying to find ways to date up and into a space that works better for them. Second part of that is Patrice O'Neill coined this term, and I used to listen to him. Brilliant guy. He used to say all the time that women are boring, but they don't require skill sets that you need to garner a mate, right? As a man, I have to be the one that has to learn how to dress. I have to be witty. I have to be funny. I have to gain any status that I have in this country, in this world. I have to go work for that, right? Which are skill sets that I have to develop. As a woman, not every woman, but as majority for women, all they have to do is look pretty. Like you just have to look good. And in today's society, in today's world, you're the prize. You are the, like we've talked about, you are the table. So all the skill sets I have are put to getting you, right, as a woman. And it comes a time that when, and I've listened to Patrice O'Neill, he's done this, he did this like at least 10 times. It was brilliant the way he did it, because he would literally lay out how these women don't have any skill sets. There's no need for them to have it at all whatsoever, other than, and he would ask the, what do you bring to the table concept, right? And it's why I can do this in bed, or I can cook this meal. And he's like, that's not a skill set. Like, and don't get me wrong, Vicky, let me say this, cooking is a skill set, so don't take that the wrong way. I love all your food. So
but your average cooking,
yes, average cooking, yes, of course. But those major skill sets that you need to have a personality, to be interesting, to have wisdom, right? To have experiences, like these things are what we need to ensure that our seed survives. Women don't necessarily need that. And to that point, that's what we have nowadays. Yes, women are boring.
Yeah. Man, you hit it right on the head. That's not a quality that we look for. We actually embrace them being boring. That's okay with us.
Yes, we 100% as men, and I hate to say this. I watched the interview the other day and they talked about this, but men date down. Like we date down. We will settle 100%. The majority of the time is we're settling. We're settling for the woman that doesn't have any skill sets. You're not entertaining to me, but at the end of the day, I'm looking, maybe genetics wise, you can take care of my kids. Maybe you can nurture them, etc. But we're settling. We go out here and we look for these women, and that's it. What we get is what we got.
Yeah,
I totally agree with you. I was having a conversation with a young lady the other day that I met at the gym, and she was a little peeved at me at the end of the conversation. So we started naturally talking about relationships, and she was like, "You're just like so eloquent, and I just like how you put things together." And then she was like, "But I just want to find what I want, and I don't feel like I have to settle." And I'm like, "Well, the real question is, why should he settle for you?" And she hated that question. She hated that question, but it's like, why are you the only one settling? I mean, if we have to just use that term, settling, then we're settling for each other. Because, honey, we're in this gym. I'm seeing these leggings. I'm seeing what's going on. He is settling too. Man.
Amen.
Wow.
Amen. And
Wow.
to add to that point, what I've noticed is we spend so much time trying to explain to men how to be interesting, what they need to work on, all the characteristics that they need to develop. That what I've noticed now is women now are trying to mirror that because they don't
Mhm.
even know. Nobody's even having a conversation of what it is you can do to make yourself interesting, right? It's just, as an example, go get your degree, go make X amount of money. Do you have this home, this car? Those were all things 30, 40 years ago that we needed to attract women. Now all of a
Right.
sudden women feel as if they needed to attract us. And I don't give a damn about your car. I don't care what your
Yeah.
house looks like. Like, I don't care how much money you make. That don't mean nothing to me. Because at the end of the day, you're not
Mhm.
gonna respect me or look at me like a man if you're footing the
Right.
bill. Like, so
Right.
it doesn't matter what you make, I still have to make more. So uh those concepts I see are very they're conflated nowadays. People do not understand the differences in men and women.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
agree. I try to tell women like we don't care. Men do not care
Don't
how
give a
much
shit.
money you make. It's a small pool. There is a man out there that cares, but it's a small pool. It's a certain type of guy. It's very very
Hmm.
small. But
Them
most men
dudes.
do not. Right. Most men do not care about your degree, about how much money you make, because we feel that like we don't benefit from that. Not only that, we don't even want to benefit from that.
Mm-mm,
And if we did, you wouldn't respect us.
mm-mm.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's about. But that's a good segue into the next topic. What is a strong woman? Because I hear
Uh,
that a lot. And the kind of woman we just described, Abdul, kind of woman that we're attracted to, men are like us are attracted to. They got another type of woman would say that woman is weak. And that this
Mhm.
woman would say, "I'm strong. I'm a strong woman." What is a strong woman though?
so when you get into that question, and especially in today's world, it gets very muffled because you get into like what's a man, what's a woman, can a man be feminine, can a woman be masculine? Absolutely, right? I like to identify things. I like to identify women and men as feminine, masculine, right? I like to do that because it simplifies it in my
Mhm.
opinion.
I
And
agree.
so as a woman, and we've done a segment on this, right? Like, what is the feminine? What's a strong feminine? What is the divine feminine, right? And she knows how to stand in her feminine, on her square in a sense, right? Um, True to who she is, which is nurturing, which is um, finding a way to add to the space of the masculine that she has attached herself to, right? In my opinion, that's what strength is. Now, I don't, Vicky, you go ahead and I'm going to let you identify it, but in my opinion, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. When I think about what a strong woman is, the first gut instinct is to think about what a strong woman is not.
Mm.
Mm,
And I think strong women are not combative. I think strong women are not oppressive, which I'm finding rampant in our community right now. And I think strong women don't have to be like overly arrogant or braggadocious.
mhm.
I think those elements to me are weak versus now in society when women are loud and in your face and wanting to oppress their men and other men and masculine energy around them. I find that very weak.
Yeah.
uh, but what are strong women? Confident without being obnoxious, and also they find peace in their femininity, which I find a lot of women don't have right now.
No.
They see femininity as weakness, as something to purge. And it's like, that's really one of our greatest strengths.
Yep.
Being
I
a
agree.
divine female presence, it's like the best thing ever. But a lot of
Yeah.
women don't see it that way. And I feel like these conversations have to begin to shift that narrative back to its healthy spectrum.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll say this, you know, one of the, and it's, I'll go back all the way back to the beginning. One of the reasons why I felt like Vicky and I built such a good relationship was because she is special. I'm gonna be honest. Vicky's very special because she's able to sit in her feminine and be strong in that, but also understand the dynamics that are needed today from a woman's perspective. The relationship that her and Derek have is unique in my opinion because not too many women can sit in that space, have peace and bring peace to that, and at the same time go out into a masculine world and find a way to aid and assist her man in doing what he's doing. That's very rare today to see. And in my opinion, that's strength, right? More so, that's what's needed, right? She honors the masculine. She honors the masculine in Derek and applauds it and doesn't overstep. And forgive me, Vicky, if I'm saying anything wrong to cut me off, but she doesn't overstep her place, for lack of better terms. And that's just, I feel like women could use that example, right? Because what you do is you nurture the other person in that sense, right? You literally build a relationship, which is at the crux of success for us, especially in the Black community, right? When you can start showing people successful relationships, people will start to see that, hey, I can have a good relationship, I can have successful business, you know, I can do all the things within capitalism that I need to have success, to get ourselves out of the condition that we're in, right? But it all starts at home. There's no solid examples there. I'm 38, and when my mom got married the second time around, that was the first time that I have seen firsthand a relationship that works and is successful, right? Where two people respect one another, and they have disagreements, but they find a way to work it out, right? And they function independently. They function dependently, but independently of one another. And that was real for me. But it changed my perspective on relationships. Now, I think it's possible. Now, it's capable. We can do it out here. So all that, and I don't want to go too far off on a tangent, but that is something I recognized within Vicky, and for me, that's why I told her, I was like, yo, you need to get out here and you know, teach these women, because I've been in these streets and I know what's out here, man. I don't like what I see, so we need an example. We're gonna put you on a pedestal to show everybody what this looks like. So yeah.
No doubt.
There's a bunch of sad quesadillas out there.
Man, floppy, saggy, they ain't got it. They ain't got it out here.
Oh my God. I wanted to add one more thing to what I feel makes women strong, like true strength, is being able to acknowledge their inner demons and their traumas from the past, being able to take the steps. Not saying they have to be fully healed, because I still have things that I'm working on myself, but to still be taking steps in that healing journey, and to not, on the flip side, ignore what I call going into the swamp and taking these traumas and tainting the next generation and the generation after that and the generation after that, and just saying, oh, well, this is just how I am.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's so important. And you rarely find, well, I want to speak for everyone. I've rarely found women who can just own their trauma, admit it, and just deal with it. You know, that's rare. It's very rare. And it breeds bitterness and contention, and just, you know, more darkness. Yeah. So what got you? I want to expound on that though, Abdul, because I agree with you about Victoria. You know, when I was on Souls Live with her the first time, I noticed that right off, the femininity, but she also has a presence that you can't walk over her. And I think a lot of women think when you say feminine or you say submissive, That means your rug, your doormat that you could be walked over. That's totally not true. But Victoria, what got you to the point, or were you always like that? If not, what got you to the point where you could reside in your divine femininity?
Well, first of all, I appreciate that you see that in me, because it makes me feel like I'm on the right path. I'm taking the right steps and I'm making the right impact, which every year that I get older, it becomes like more and more important to me to make these lasting impressions. I call them footprints on the heart. I like to leave these footprints on the heart of everyone that I meet. So that's really dope. But to answer your question, I was not always like that. I was raised in a very oppressive household. Like the man of the house, this was not my biological father, but the man of the house was very, you're going to do what I say, and there's no family discussions, and it's kind of like you're going to be passive and meek. And so most of my life, I was very timid. And I saw feminine, like the divine feminine in my mom. I loved it. I respected it. But I also saw it being abused. And I saw that for all the gifts and nurturing that she brought into the household, it was not reciprocated the way I felt it should have been reciprocated. And we won't get off into all that. But really, it took me after like I moved out the house and had relationships in my 20s. It really took that and me avoiding going into my swamp. It took me realizing I need to start dealing with some of my personal issues. And once I started going through those steps, which included a whole lot of ugly crying and a whole lot of hollering and screaming at night and all this crazy stuff, letting it all out, that's when I really started shifting into the feminine woman that I always was, but in a healthy way, being able to speak up and stand up for myself.
Wow.
Beautiful.
I want to ask you something. I have this theory, and I know sometimes people say I come off misogynistic, but I feel like I feel like most people, all people need some counseling or a mentor. I think all women need counseling. And that's not saying women are crazy. No. Women are unique. They're very unique. Of course, when it comes compared to men, we have our own things to deal with, but the woman is created differently. Her mind is different. Her body's different. Menstrual cycles, menopause. She goes through so many things, and she needs to be recentered a lot of times, or balanced. And sometimes women, do the wrong things because they're in need of being balanced or being centered. And I think to have the right mentor, the right counselor, can get them back on track. At one time, that counselor was grandma. You know what I'm saying? We didn't call him counselor; it was grandma that'll get her recentered because she had been through it. But grandma was not around, and so what do you think about that?
You can take it, Abdul.
Oh man, what do I think about that? Yeah, 100%. I'm a firm believer in that hierarchy was important. There was always a patriarch in the family and a matriarch, right? That's why I say that family is at the crux of success for us, because there was a lot of the things that men needed from the family structure, right? Rites of passage, examples of discipline, those things were in the family structure. To your point, what the women needed, recentering, you know, how to nurture, how to grow a family, right? Those things were in the family structure, right? Um, and so I think we need to get back to that. I think it's important. I have children of my own. I have two kids, and I have the advantage of having a girl and a boy, right? And they're different in their needs, right? My daughter needs a lot of love. She needs recentering, right? Um, but she also needs that as much as I can do it because I'm dad, right? And we've had discussion before, Vicky, where if I don't yell at her, but if I raise my voice to a point of dad means business, she readjusts herself, right? I don't have to do a lot of that, right? And so that's needed in the dynamic, but it's also needed from the matriarch standpoint, right? She needs to understand that there's a hierarchy to this, that there is another woman too that is looking for you to do the right things, not just dad, but her mom, her grandmother, her TT, her you know, her auntie, like they're looking for her to make the right decisions as well, and that dynamic is important. We can't be so focused on ensuring that boys have structure and forget that women also need that, right? Little girls also need that structure too. It's extremely important, like you said, to recenter them, to bring them back, because nowadays, and we've been in the dating world before, Book, you know this, and Vicky, you said you're out here, you've seen it. Uh, I was having this discussion today, and women tend to lack the ability to take accountability for things that are going on with them, right? And
Uh-oh.
I feel, yeah, it is what it is. But I feel that starts, I feel that starts in the home, right? I feel like, yes, you are daddy's princess, but if you do wrong in the household, you would be held accountable, and there are some consequences to that, right? And I think for whatever reason, that has faded, and now you have young girls that didn't get that growing up, that are now older, calling themselves the table, the prize, and essentially, I do no wrong. And if this relationship isn't working, it's because of you, not me. And I'm doing everything correctly, like I'm supposed to, right? Why aren't you doing X, Y, Z? And round you go, right? And it's a fight at that point. And so I 100% think that that's necessary, that's needed. And if, and I'll say it again, Vic, I'm gonna use you as an example, but if Vicky and Derek ever decide to have children, I can see Vicky being that matriarch in the family that's going to keep the young girls. Hey, no, that's not what we do. This is how we cook. This is the recipe, right? You're gonna pass that recipe book down. Like those are the things that are needed, in my opinion. We can't just harp so much on the men, ensuring that we teach these young boys how to work, how to slave, how to get out there and make it happen. Like, yes, that's needed, but we also need the other side. So
let me interject. Let me interject for a minute, Vic, because you reminded me of something. Man, my first marriage, I was young, and I remember my wife at the time, her aunts and her mom at times pulling her to the side and saying, "Hey, you don't talk the book like that. What? You don't do that." I remember that, bro. I remember that.
Amen.
And
Amen.
she didn't listen in the long run, and so that's why she's an ex, right? But they did pull her to the side. I remember that. I remember that clearly, man. And I think that's missing. I really think that's missing today. Yeah. Go ahead, Vic.
I just wanted to tacking on to what Abdul was saying. I definitely agree with the importance of the balancing that happens and the role that various individuals play in balancing one individual woman throughout the course of her life. Growing up, the balancing starts with the mom, the grandma, maybe if she's fortunate enough, even the great grandma, teaching before she even fully understands this ebb and flow of the matriarch, how to nurture, how to listen, but also how to speak up, how to provide the nutrients of the family, not just on the plate, but through spirit, through her presence, through prayer, all these things that you learn as you get older. Then that shifts. Then this kind of balancing comes from teachers. It comes from aunties, it comes from cousins as she gets older. Now we're in teenage years, going into young woman, adult woman. Now this woman is with her partner, and now she has to learn this new interesting balancing ebb and flow of what it means to take everything she learned and now have this with her partner. But the needs and how each person feeds her along the way are different. I agree with you with the like the elders kind of pulling you to the side and telling you how not to talk to a man. Like for me, for example, in my relationships, I've always like, it doesn't matter that I finished cooking, I'm always serving the person first. Whoever is at the table to eat, I'm serving you first. However, I do kind of expect you to wait for me to have my plate and sit down and then we eat together. But the purpose is I've shown you the respect by presenting you with your plate first. Like, because that's my way of saying I appreciate you. I thank you for being this provider. Look at what you provide. Look at this beautiful plate of food. So yeah, I totally get that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I agree. Hey, let's kick a shout out to my high school teammate, classmate Rob C. Say, what's up, Book?
Wow.
What's up, Rob? What's up, man?
What's up, Rob?
Soul Immortal Minds. My brother said, good to see you all chopping it up. Finally made it, man.
Soul, my God.
My brother Soul. Man, I owe him a lot.
Solid dude.
Yes. So the next topic, what is a man's weakness and why? I'll let you guys take the lead on this.
Man, let me hop in that. I know that there is a very cliche answer out there, and they say it's women. I don't agree with that. I think a man's weakness is lack of structure, lack of discipline, lack of focus. It's not a simple answer. It's very nuanced, in my opinion. But yes, when a man doesn't have structure, discipline, and focus, then a woman can become a vice. Alcohol can become a vice. Marijuana can become a vice, right? Hell, even work can become a vice, right? Eating, you name it, anything at that point can become a vice if you don't have structure, if you don't have discipline. So I don't feel that a man's weakness is any one thing. It's coupled in not having a structure, discipline, and focus from what I can see.
To tack on to that, I feel, even though this answer has been used so much, but I feel it's still applicable. I feel the weakness comes from the man not knowing what he's here to do.
Yeah, lack of purpose. Yeah.
And through that, all of these other issues kind of spawn out of this rotted seedling of not knowing what you're here for. So now you make it. So now you make it women, you make it substance abuse, you make it gambling, you make it all this other stuff because you don't really know, like, what am I doing here? So very
I want to add to that, Vicky, last time, was the last time or the show before, I can't remember, but we were talking about purpose with Nicole and Thomas. It got me to thinking, right? And I tried to go out on the internet and search for information on purpose, because what I think people don't understand is to the question that Nicole asked me, right? Like, she asked me, could your purpose be that you wanted to cure multiple sclerosis, right?
I remember.
And I told her no, right? And it got me to thinking that I don't think people understand what purpose is, right? That it essentially is a function of yourself. And so I found something, I found the archetype of purpose, but it was centered around business, right? And what I decided to do is I think I'm going to go out here and I'm going to try to write something with regards to purpose, right? Figure out and learn the archetypes of purpose. Like, as an example, I feel like my purpose is service and teaching, right? Vicky may feel her purpose is something else, right? But all that to say, I think that there's a lack of understanding what that looks like, right? What that means. And so we can't adequately teach young children about purpose and harnessing that at an early age. So when they get into their older adolescence, right, they are now functioning within it in a healthy manner. So easily, I'm 38 and probably just at the age of 36 did I figure out what my purpose was, right? And so I think I think it's good to have these conversations and to start letting people know, like, yo, your purpose is not your job, a woman, having kids, etc. Your purpose is a function of yourself. And what is that? What does that look like? So I just wanted to throw it out there. It's on the way. It's coming. So
looking
I
forward to
love
that.
that. And you know, I love your writing. So yes,
oh, yes, I'll
put
put it
that
out there.
together.
Thank you.
But so essentially, to kind of rephrase what you said, you're saying that the purpose is a massive umbrella. However, depending on what phase you're in life, that umbrella always stays constant, but the vehicle you use to, you know, conduct that
Yes.
purpose may change, which is why you told her your purpose is not just solving multiple sclerosis. The purpose was healing.
Yes.
Maybe that current vehicle at the time was MS, but now
Yes.
maybe it's tuberculosis or something.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Alzheimer's. Yes. Something like that.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Amen.
Wow.
Thanks, Vicky. Thanks for rephrasing that. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Clarity is beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. Man, I agree. I agree with you totally. I would give it a word as far as order, structure, purpose. I think it's misplaced dopamine. That's
From a
what I
scientific
think it is,
perspective,
man. We
I
all
agree.
need to exert it. We all need to release that. And so women get the blame a lot for being a distraction because
Yeah.
they're so accessible. That's the easiest thing to do is have sex. Man,
Mhm.
you can, like I told someone, you get sex before someone give you food or money. You can get sex. It's
Might be true.
easy.
Might be
And
true.
if you can't get a woman, by the other means, your charisma, you pay for it, or you get it through porn. And so the climax is still there, right? And so it's misplaced. And so when you don't have purpose, you don't know your purpose. We all have purpose. When you don't know your purpose, your mission, but you got this dopamine in you, you got this energy in you, you got to release it. And you don't know where to go. You don't know where to put it in. Hey, it's the woman. And so she gets the blame. And
Yeah.
so I think the woman is one of our biggest temptations. And it could be to keep us back on track. It's a challenge to show us how vulnerable we can be and how strong we are.
Mhm.
The strong have control over their sexual organ, and the weak do not. That's plain and simple, man. If you don't have control over your sexual organ, your stomach, and your thoughts, you're gonna do some suffering.
Yeah.
And so, I think it's misplaced dopamine, and so we got to teach young boys at an early age where to exert that, how to exert it, their mission, their purpose, their gifts, their talents. And man, when you don't know how to do that, things happen. I've seen over the last three months, men who are not living within their purpose and putting all that energy into women, and they end up killing someone over a woman, killing a woman, or killing themselves. And all it is, and I know women get the blame of it, but what it is, they don't have order. The men don't have order. They don't have purpose. They don't have a mission. A man on his mission, a man with some order, with some discipline, he doesn't do that stuff. It doesn't come into his mind to kill a woman because she's cheating, to kill a woman because she dumped him. to kill himself, he doesn't place her above his purpose. And
Right.
I think that's what it boils down to, man.
Well, I'll say this, and to kind of tie it all together, our family structure being important, right? One of the things that our ancient cultures had was they had rites of passages. And within those rites of passages, there were certain steps, right? And one of the first steps that they took on was to detach from the mother, right? Robert Moore writes about this. Joseph Stone writes about this, right? Guys that have done a lot of research into the archetypes of the male, right, to understand what's needed for us. And a detachment from the mother was literally it was a dramatic process, right? Because the one thing that we needed them to do was, we're going to strip you from the mom, and then we're going to put you through this specific process that will get you in tune with yourself. And so what does that look like, right? Anything, in my opinion, that would essentially force you to meet death at a certain point, right? Polynesian cultures would send their young boys who were becoming men out on rafts into the ocean for 4 days. And if they came back, right, they were gifted certain things inside of their tribe or their society. And I feel like those processes need to be injected back. Of course, we can give it a new age version, but I feel like those processes need to be injected back into, especially the Black community, right? Where you're detached from the mother, right? You're given a process for young boys to become men, from men specifically, right? Where you're forced to meet death, essentially your creator, and to tackle this process on your own, where only you and your creator alone can get through it. Once you tackle that process, you know within yourself, I can handle anything, and now I know what I'm supposed to do, right? The Native Americans had something, and they would take their young on a vision quest, right? And in the vision quest, at the end, you were supposed to have a vision predicated on what your purpose is, right? And so these rites of passages, I feel like, kind of solve that specific problem of veering these young boys back into the path of honor, respectability, putting them and their creator in alignment, so they're not falling victim to devices of life, alcohol, weed, women, anything that they had in their time period, that could deter them from what their purpose is. So I 100% feel like that could be the solvent to a lot of the problems that we're experiencing today with regards to young men.
Wow. Yeah, I agree. We got Derek Williams. That's Victoria's husband. Made it. What's good, everyone? What's good?
What's up, man?
What's good, brother? I wouldn't know by his name unless I saw the picture. I was like, yeah, that's her husband. Yeah, what's going on?
And look, here I am about to drop a shameless plug. It's not even mine, but Abdul is putting together a hymn program, and I feel it's going to be the modern day answer or solution to what we can do with our young boys to give them a similar experience, without putting our baby on a raft and sending them out into the ocean.
Right.
What's crazy though, and I'm gonna say this, right? Like that, if I have experienced an issue in putting this together, because there's 9 pillars to the program, right? And each pillar will teach these young boys something that they need to learn. I've been working on this probably for the last 3 years now, right? And I've taken boys through this process. But the one part that I've struggled with is there's really no way around putting these young boys through something like that, right? I've had to sit down with the moms, and I've had to say, hey, look, this is what I'm gonna do, right? Here's the purpose behind it. I take the boys through this process, right? And at the very end, it's like, okay, hey, listen, I'm gonna take your boy and I'm gonna drop him off in the middle of nowhere for 4 days. I'll be back to get him. I think he's gonna be okay. Right? But it's taking them through this process. It's the only thing that will get them to align themselves with their creator, whatever that is, right? Nothing else on this planet will give them the opportunity to find themselves in this very distraught place where they don't have any assistance, no help. Mom is not there, dad is not there, coach is not there. It's literally just me, myself, and all of what I've been taught up to this point to get through this. And so much of life is that for young boys or men in general, right? And there's no way to recreate that on a safer scale to ensure that they'll make it or they survive. You have to just throw them out into the, for lack of better terms, you got to throw them out into the wild and let them figure it out, right? And when I sit with the mothers and I tell them this, of course, that's their reaction, right? But like, what are the options, right? Do we allow them to have this life experience and then fail because they're not given this opportunity to figure out that they can get it done on their own early on, right? So anything else that they face, whether it be a heartbreak, whether it be the loss of a job, a natural disaster that flatlines them, like a death in the family, there's nothing else that we can do to prepare them to get them to this point of meeting these obstacles other than giving them an obstacle early on that they have to face, that they have to get through, right? And so that has probably been one of the biggest pushbacks, especially in today's society, because that's not anything that people are interested in because they don't understand the benefit of it from what I can see.
From the warrior mindset, I really do understand what you're saying. I do. I guess I just don't want to think about, my baby that doesn't exist yet coming back amputated.
Well, look, so they
But he like, look, mom, I did it. He got a little nub and shit. I'm like, oh, Lord Jesus.
Right.
Well, look, they in all fairness, they have to be a certain age, right? I only do it to 17 and 18-year-olds, right? If you're at the age of 15, then the process is different, but you have to continue the process until you get to 17 or 18, right? When you pass that final test as a 17 and 18-year-old, which, let's just be honest, what I'm going to put them through is no worse than what they're probably going to experience at the age of 21 drinking and driving at a party that they left, right? It's not going to be any worse, right? Mm-hmm. But once they conquer this test at that age, 17, 18, then they become an elder within the program. And now your responsibility is to give back all of the knowledge and the wisdom that you gained, what your experience are, and you have to redistribute that to a younger generation, right? Mm-hmm. And as an elder, you gain another experience. So the next year you come back with new experiences that you can share into the program. And it continues. This never fades, right? Until you become a head chief within the program. You're this elder man who's now distributing so much wisdom to the youth or the teachers at that level, and it just trickles down. Now you're just blessing and gifting so much to these young men, and that's the hierarchy system that I was talking about. That if we're not going to do it in the family structure, then let's go grab our young boys and let's give that to them, right? Let's take back our young boys and give them what they need. And there's so much out there today that they're confused. Like we should teach them this, don't get me wrong, but we don't need to harp on them with finances and all this other shit. Right now, you need to understand what it means to have honor and respect for yourself, and what it means to function in society with the name of somebody else on your back. Meaning, if I've blessed you with so much information, you carry that into the world. You're a representative of me. So now function with some honor and respect, right? And so much of that is needed. That I feel like those very small, but very, very important teachings is what we need to give to these young boys nowadays.
Yes, because without the honor and the respect and self-awareness, self-assurance, you're doing it ass backwards. Now we're thrusting these boys out into sports and money, and that's why they don't mind throwing the big bucks at them when they get signed into the NFL, because they know, you're going to give us the next 5-8 years, the best years that your body's got left. We're going to throw you all these millions and we're going to get it right back. That's why they don't care, because they know you don't have it here. You don't have that warrior mentality. you're going to lose it all, or, it's going to be gambled away on all these different vices because you don't have that foundation that you're talking about, Abdul.
Or even worse, right? Let's take I think it's Henry Ruggs. Is that who it was? I think for the Oakland Raiders, or the Las Vegas Raiders. I can't remember his name. 3 o'clock in the morning, high speed on the highway. I think it was a empty road going 100 miles an hour with some white girl in the passenger seat. They ended up hitting somebody and killing him. He was drunk driving. So now he's in prison. He'll be there for some time, right? Lost everything. He was a first-round pick. Only played 1 year. Second year, boom, this happens. You lost everything. But just think what would have happened had we given this young boy an opportunity to know the difference between right or wrong, right? First thing, don't mess with white women. Second thing, right? Like, don't drink and drive. Right?
Abdul, that's not tonight's conversation.
Hey, man, hey, speak your truth, brother.
That's what it is. But
that's what my mom told me too.
But just think of what would have happened if we could have given them this rite of passage, right? They would operate under a certain air of respect and honor for themselves. That would have been the last thing on his mind. Honing his craft and focusing on what he's doing, preparing for the future. Maybe even going to go get some more information to bring back to his craft to make it better, or maybe another venture that he wanted to hop into post his career, right? Would have been the furthest thing on his mind would have been to drunk and high speed down a highway to kill somebody. That's my thought process on it.
Yeah. I think we've moved so far away from that, and it's hurt us. Building that character, even that pecking order in the community when you're young, amongst your friends, fighting amongst who's going to lead the pack, and then you find out, well, should we both want to lead the pack? We fought 6 times. There's been a tie. It's 3-3. Well, it's time for us to split. I got my own little friends over here now because we both can't lead this pack. I mean, we moved so far away from that, but we got to get back to that. Listen, Rob C, who's in the chat, is 2 years older than me. I was on varsity as a sophomore. He was a senior. I got hazed. He was a part of that hazing.
I did too, yeah.
Yeah, he was a part of that. I fought back, but they gave me that work. The seniors gave me that work, though. And it was okay, So that's abolished, because, some guys just took it too far, though, and like Derek said, the fraternities, you built that character in the fraternities. And that's why it's abolished, actually, because of the fraternities at a few deaths, So
they were just doing some sick stuff, like, the hazing was different. I am a firm believer, though, right? Like, I watch my son. I'll take him to the park, right? And I don't have an issue with it, but him and the boys are fighting. I'm like, you know what? That's what you're supposed to do. Like, you're a young boy. Go test your strength and figure it out. Now, I don't want you to hurt nobody, yet. We'll get to that point. But, right now, go do it. Go fight. If that's what you want to do, fight. His mom's trying to stop it. And I'm like, yo, let it happen. Let these boys, let them do what they need to do. I don't mind society in the direction that it's moved, where we are trying to balance things, right? And we're trying to not be so primitive. But I don't want to be so progressive that we lose a lot of the primal instincts that we have as men to function, right? Yes. I would 100% want my son to be able to function in a society that's extremely civilized today, but also, if we have to hit the dark ages tomorrow, be able to function there too, right? I think they should be able to do both. I think we as men should be able to do both, just in the event anything happens. And so that continuing to hone those primal skills are important, in my opinion. So, shit, the boys gonna fight, let them fight. I got flack for this. I'm gonna give you one story, and I hope the lady never sees this, but so I was a head strength and conditioning coach at a local high school here in Houston that opened up 4 years ago. And at the school, I'm dealing with young boys. It happens, okay? Now, here's where I felt like I prevented anything from happening, okay? Both the boys played football together, but one boy was from A-League, another boy was from the North Side, right? Now, from what I understand, I'm not a Houston native. I don't know, but from what I understand, they don't necessarily get along. A-Leaf and Northside cats, right? But so they were heavily influenced by gang members in their hood and what they do. So they're talking about shooting each other and everything else. I say, look, if y'all want to box, let's go into the weight room. I'm going to let 2 or 3 of your friends in there. We're going to sit down. It's going to go the way I do. Y'all can box. Let's do it. Okay. I'm going to lock the doors. Can't nobody get in there and y'all figure it out. They said, all right. So they went in there and they figured it out. They fought. I let them fight. Okay. I didn't let nobody else get involved. All right. I can beat them all up. So I won't worry about it. But I let these 2 boys go at it. But they squashed their beef. They ended up becoming best friends afterwards, right? About 3 weeks later, they ended up becoming best friends. And it's like, no harm, no foul. Did this kid get a black eye and a bloody nose? Sure, but he's fine, right?
Okay.
I made sure nothing happened. Wasn't no guns pulled. It wasn't, these kids are not in no obituary anywhere. Like at the end of the day, they took care of what they needed to, in my opinion, like men, and the story is done, right? Now they're friends. They have a healthy respect for one another. They can tell their story when they get older, man. We fought one time, man, but we're best friends now, right? That's the way it should be. That's the way it should go. Now, if they decided to be enemies, cool, whatever. But now you have a healthy respect for one another, and you're not going to go get a gun, square up. Let's box a little bit. You know what I mean? And that's actually one of the pillars within the program that I'm putting together is self-defense. Like you have to know how to be able to defend yourself, right? In any situation. So I was all for it. It didn't bother me. I feel like that needed to happen, and we had a positive result from it. So,
I agree, man. Derek actually, who's in the chat, Vicky's husband, he hit me up about a month ago, and I guess he's coming up with something. I won't break it, break the news, but he asked me some questions about some things 5 things men needed. So I named 5 things, and I was like, man, this is good. Whatever you're coming up with, this is good. So I sent it. And I thought about it. I was like, damn, man, I'm coming out very primitive. But I was like, but listening to you, I feel better now. But it was all about knowing how to make a fire, knowing how to hunt, knowing how to change a flat. A lot of men can't change a flat tire, which shocks me,
That's what it is, yeah.
Knowing how to boil water, like knowing, salt water from fresh water and just knowing how to cleanse it.
Mm-hmm.
Just different things, know how to pitch a tent, Yeah, build a home. Like I know how to actually build a home. I learned that from the military, which was a positive thing of going to the military. I learned I could actually build a home. But we gotta find some balance. Like you said, not go too far progressive and not too far primitive. And there's actually I think there's a spiritual war going on right now. There's always a spiritual war, but I think it's heating up. Kind of touching back on the first topic, I've noticed there's a surge of women coming out defending being feminine and being in their feminine divinity and divineness or being submissive. I've never seen anything like this.
I love
it.
Like they're speaking out. Like they're really speaking out and they're fighting back. I was like, damn, what is going on here? But I think there's a spiritual war going on. And maybe we can get some balance in this thing, man. Hopefully.
The universe will always find a way to balance itself out.
Absolutely.
It's math. The universe is math. You cannot get away from balancing that equation. I don't care what you do. It's just inevitable. And so I'm all for it. Hey, man, where they at? Like, create a group.
I'm with it.
Let me in that group. Let me talk to
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Abdul.
I'm kidding.
But I absolutely love it, and I've noticed it too. Look, I really have, and it's like I was telling Soul last week. I was like, we need to bring back. It can't just be me and a small handful of women. It's got to be a whole battalion of us ushering in this new wave of women, because it's like the ones that don't want to change and the ones that feel the shift and they're fighting it and they're being even nastier and they're doubling down and we're going to be meaner and we're going to be fatter and we're going to be more oppressive and you're just going to like it. No, the ones that are here for it, it's like we're on the front line and we can help reach behind us and pull up the next generation of girls that are going to be women worth fighting for and women worth dying for. And I feel that's what's going to turn this whole thing around, bring our families back together, and just, just make this a more enjoyable life for all of us. I really do.
No doubt. No doubt. Now, this last topic, as we close out, unless you guys want to expound on something else, but this last topic is dear to me. I'm actually going through, what would you call it? I said cleansing. I don't even know how long I'm going to do it, maybe 30 days, but I'm just on fruit and veggies, fresh fruit, fresh veggies, herbal teas, water. And I've been in it for about 5 days, I think, about 5 days. So I feel good, man. I feel really good. But thank you, brother. But I know both of you are big on health, very big on health. You're the fitness guru. You even wrote a book about it. Victoria, a chef. I hear a lot of people saying, wealth is health. And some people, I think a small group, have this thing, I have to be wealthy to be healthy, to eat right. Man, can y'all give some pointers? Well, give your thoughts on that. I kind of know where you're going to lean towards, but how can we dismiss or just kill that thought that to be healthy, to eat healthy is expensive? I disagree. It's all about priorities. And my opinion is people pay for what they want, what they put a priority on. So you may not be able to get your nails done every week. You may not be able to get those J's, man, every month that you've been addicted to in order to live longer, to live a better quality life. What are your thoughts on that?
Vicky, go ahead. I'll chime in.
You actually took the words out of my mouth when you said it. I feel that you spend money on what matters to you. Posting things online, it invites people to make comments about your life and their assumptions and things like that. And like, for example, I have been told that, damn, like, how much is your grocery bill? And you always traveling somewhere and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, I look at your Instagram and you're always at the Galleria. You have multiple designer handbags. You're always at brunch. So it's like, so let's do some comparisons, right? So groceries. I get meat from local butcher because I do care about high quality meat. I don't get it from just regular big chain grocery store. I like going to farmers markets, things like that. But if we compare the cost of a grocery bill versus what you spent on a bag, what I bought makes 20 meals. You went to brunch, had bottomless mimosas. You pretty much spent half of my grocery bill in one brunch. That is one Saturday. How many times did you go out with your girlfriends? So it's like, it really just depends on what matters to you. You wanted this purse. The purse costs more than what you have in your account. I don't have designer purses. To me, a passport stamp is more important. I think that's a love language, passport stamp. I like to travel. I would rather go. So to me, it's like, okay, designer bag or sunset in Thailand.
Hey.
So you spend the money on what matters to you. It's really, and when you start realizing all these little ways you can cut things out, like not getting crappy Starbucks every day. You don't have to get new clothes every single month. You don't have to get all these designer bags, and you don't have to keep doing brunch. You can cook at home. You start realizing, oh, I actually do have a lot more money than I think.
Yes.
Right.
So no, eating healthy. So to bring it back around full circle, eating healthy does not have to be overly expensive. You don't have to get your meat from the butcher, but you can just get, when you go to the grocery store, you can just look and get like the organic stuff. Instead of just getting any kind of chicken, maybe look for free range chicken, and instead of just getting any kind of like, don't get all the chips and the cookies.
Right. Cut back on something else.
Yeah, something else.
So I'll say this. I have the advantage of and I want to do this for Black folks specifically. We 100% are empathetic to our plight and our position, right? We do understand that. I know that there are still some single mothers out there, single fathers as well, parents that are struggling to make ends meet, and they are doing the best that they can, right? My sister got her master's in African studies, right? And her master's, I think her thesis she defended was on food deserts in the Black community, right? And so I have this advantage of understanding this space a little bit, and knowing that there is a drought when it comes to healthy options for us, right? I understand that. But there are options that are available. But again, on the same side, I am empathetic to the position that they're all in. My sister, as an example, is a single mother. She's a teacher, so she doesn't make a ton of money, and she struggles with finding ways to feed my big ass 17-year-old nephew who wears a size 14. Like, this boy eats, right? So she looks for ways to try to meet the needs of the home, right? Pay the bills, gas. He wants to drive now, the whole nine. And so I understand her position, but at the same time, I do understand that, like Vicky said, and like you guys were mentioning, like, you kind of pay for what you want and what's important to you. And so there are healthy options out there. As an example, I grew up Muslim in the Nation of Islam, right? And one of the tenets that they practice is you only eat one a day. So as a kid, I'm sitting here looking at what kids eat at lunch, right, at school, and I'm like, yo, you got Lunchables and Cokes, and yo, I want that too. And I'm not gonna eat until I get home, right? I'm gonna get that one meal a day. And don't get me wrong, we ate more than that, but that was just the practice that we tried to implement into us. And what I've learned specifically, and the reason why I'm able to discipline myself is, I know there's a lot of talk out there with regards to nutrition, but you can survive off of one meal a day. You can. I don't care what anybody says. I've seen it. And I work out, and there are days where I only eat once a day, right? And I have the option to eat 2 or 3 times out of the day, but I only eat once. It's just, what is your mindset? What can you place your focus on? And what's important to you, right? And so, to your question, is health wealth? Well, I learned this on the football field. You play football, so you can probably know this, right? There's no ability like availability, right? If you're healthy, if you're a billionaire but you can't go nowhere, then what's the point of your riches, of your wealth, other than just creating wealth for your family, which I totally understand too. That's a noble option, but at the end of the day, you're here to have experiences. In my opinion, that's what you're here to do. And so, what are those experiences worth if you can't experience them, right? Like, you can't go see a sunset in Tibet, right? Then what's the point? So, health is wealth, in my opinion. I 100% believe that. You got to be able to be available. So,
no doubt. Man, I was watching a podcast, Math Hoffa, and he had a rapper on. This rapper had met Jay-Z in 2019, and they asked him, what nuggets did Jay-Z give you? And it kind of shocked me. And he said he gave him 3 nuggets of wisdom. And the first was, get a lawyer, keep a lawyer in your pocket, get a chef, and get a doctor. That shocked me with the chef. And I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. And he said, the young rapper said he did get a chef, and he noticed he feels better every day. He's not overeating. He's not in the streets as he used to be. And he just feels better. His skin looks better. He feels better. And his attitude is better because of this chef. And he said he eats cleaner. Now, all of us can't afford a chef, of course. But we really got to start focusing. I'm talking to the people now. You guys know this. But we really got to start focusing on our health. Man, just taking breaks from some stuff. Hey, I love cigars. But I've been taking breaks. And I do this yearly. I take breaks from cigars, and I do the alcohol. I take breaks from that yearly. But we got to do that just to give our life some longevity. Yeah. So
Fasting. It's
fasting. Yes.
actually one of the tenets in Islam is fasting, right? One of the pillars, 5 pillars, is fasting. So
Yes.
you have to be able to. So obviously, being a Muslim, I practice Ramadan, right? So it's 30 days. You don't eat or drink anything while the sun is up, from sun up to sundown, and you do that for 30 days. People thought I was crazy, but I don't think people understand what it does for your body. It is 100% a cleansing process, right? TMI, but I'll be honest. Every time I do it, about 2 weeks in, after about the second week of doing it, I have a massive bowel movement. Like, it's almost like I took a diuretic, right? Where it comes out. But it's a natural cleanse. Like, you just give your body an opportunity to function. You gotta understand your organs are muscles, and you give those muscles an opportunity to catch up to all the food that you're feeding it. You eat 3, 4, 5 times out of the day, you're constantly putting something in there. Your body is not able to handle everything that's going in there all the time, right? And there's gonna be backlog. That's why most people, when they get to be 45, 50 years old, they have to do a colon cleanse, right? Because there's not enough, you don't give your body an opportunity to get rid of everything. Well, if you fast, right? If you don't eat food for a certain amount of period of time, your body's able to catch up and get rid of all that stuff. And I noticed it myself. So just going through that process in and of itself has taught me how important fasting is. Your skin gets clearer, obviously. I know people struggle with hair growth. Why don't you fast? It may help your body to recalibrate itself and come back, right? If you're able to remove yourself from alcohol is a problem, right? All these things. So all that to say, and it's not just fasting. When you go through Ramadan, you don't just fast from food. You fast from sex. You fast from, if it's TV. Like, and I know they have this in the Catholic religion as well, right? I think it's Lent, if I'm not mistaken. Like, you give up certain things for Lent, right?
Right.
So fasting across the board can be good for social media. Get your ass off sometimes, right? It's not that important, right? All that to say, yes, I'm a huge proponent of fasting.
Yeah, absolutely. And even right now, I'm doing excuse me, but I started a week before, like the last 4 or 5 days of May. I started dry June. So even on our show tomorrow, y'all know I love me some red wine. Y'all know I do, but I'm not gonna have it. I'm not gonna have any wine in June.
I'm starting to get into the red wine once I come off this. I thought about it. I need to get into the red wine. But I know people. I am married, but I fast from sex. About 2 weeks. The first time was 30 days. Well, 60 days was the first time I started fasting. But I know a lot of people may not agree with that, but I think it's even needed for married men, because you can get too attached, and I think it brings a newness also when you come out of that. And just discipline, man. Just discipline. I don't want to get addicted to anything, man. So not even booty time.
Look, hold on. How does the missus feel about it?
The first year I started maybe 6 years ago. The first year she wasn't too down about it, but I explained to her, why I was doing it, and so she got in line with it, and so I cut it from 60. I was like, no, that's too rough. So I can do the no tobacco, no alcohol for 60 days, but the no sex, I'm like, that's not really fair. So so I cut it down to 30 days. Yeah, I cut it down to 30 days, and she's good.
Good. And if she's watching, hey, Yaya, we love you.
I wanted to add this on there, and I didn't want to lose this point, and I don't want to lose what we were talking about either. But with regards to health, right? Kind of want to circle it back around to some of the conversations we were having with regards to women and men. I was always taught that the one thing that, and don't get me wrong, women and men both can cook. Don't get me wrong, but I personally liked my mom's food better than my dad's. So, I don't know about anybody else, but my mom just cooked better. All that to say, the one thing I felt like I've always felt like a woman can do for her family, the family structure, is make sure that everybody's healthy, right? I think Vicky mentioned it with regards to providing nutrients for the family, right? And the one way that you can make sure everybody is healthy is by giving them certain foods, right? Which goes back to the dynamics that we have today, where women feel like, for lack of a term, slavery if they do opt to get in. And that, Vicky, you and I have had this conversation before, where I'm pretty sure women have said things to you with regards to you constantly cooking meals all the time. And I want you to comment on that. But I 100% feel like that's important. Like how what does it say to you or for you as a woman that you care for your family in this manner, where cooking is like it's your thing, it's your purpose within the family structure to ensure that everybody's healthy, and I'm going to love my family. The best way to do that is to make sure that they can eat good foods.
Yes, and you're right. I've talked about this with Abdul before, and I've sent him a screenshot before, but women have ridiculed me on Instagram, showing my cooking on my little humble page. They have ridiculed me for cooking and talking about, it's better than me. It couldn't be me, and I'm not a slave, and a slave. I'm like, so that's where we're at, where just the act of putting together a plate of food, preparing the food, is now slavery. I don't feel that way at all. And a big part of that I attribute to my mother, because growing up in a household where she was cooking minimum 5 days a week, and then over time, like as more money started coming into the house, then he would take us out more, and we'd always be going to steak houses and all this. But for the majority, she was cooking 5-6 days a week, every week, like without fail. So, and I never saw her looking sour about it. She enjoyed the food. And just like me, when people eat my food and they're, I just feel so good about it. I'm like, yeah, you eat that food. But to me, it feels like, I think it taps back into this kind of primal thing where I'm supplying these nutrients to my village, and in turn, they're going to protect me.
Right.
In some shape, form, or fashion. Now, it's modern day. It's not like they're going to go out and kill a bear for me. Right. But it's like going out and having the strength to do what they need to do, and to then feed that energy, that healed, happier energy, back into me. And it's like this constant reciprocating cycle. And it feels amazing. It feels like, yeah, I'm supposed to be doing this.
But as men, we get fulfillment out of slaying that animal, thinking primitively, right? Now we don't do that anymore, right? But slaying that business deal or that job or 8 hours on the job, whatever you do, we get fulfillment out of that. And so, and it's just reciprocated. You showing, I'm going to reward you for going out there, and we're just rewarding each other. That's it. Yeah,
yes.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah, man. Where can they find you, Abdul? Where can people find you?
Oh man, Instagram, it's just Abdul Foster. I think Facebook, same thing, Abdul Foster. You can also find me on Twitter at Abdul Foster 9. Yeah, look for me, find me.
Go get his book. Go get his book, Next Generation Training. Where can they find the book?
It's on Amazon right now. Okay. If you need a link to it, just shoot me a DM on IG, and I'll get it for you guys. Okay, I'm gonna get it. I won't be using it. I'll be real with you. I'll buy it, but I'm not trying to train to be a professional athlete. But here's And I will say this with regards to the book, man. It's applicable to anybody. It is catered towards that specific audience, but the uniqueness of it is anybody can use it. Honestly, it's very simple to follow. So, no, don't be too afraid of it, man. It's you can modify a lot on there. It's very self-explanatory. So I would advise you can use it, man. I have faith in you.
Okay. I'm gonna cop that. I promise.
All right,
Vicky, where
appreciate
can
you,
they
man.
find
Thank
you?
you.
No doubt. Where can they find you, Vicky?
Yes, so you guys can find me on Instagram at Luna Posh Hippie. I believe it's 2 H's.
Correct.
So Luna Posh Hippie. I'm also, if you don't find it, you can also just type in Victoria Chestnut. I should pop up under Instagram. And I started a cooking channel on YouTube, Kitchen Alchemy. It's spelled Kitchen Alchemy. And you could type that in as well. I will be filming this week for episode number 8. So it's still a very new channel. And I will be publishing my cookbook this year. And hopefully that will also be on Amazon. So,
Amen.
Oh no, it will be. It will be on Amazon.
It will be on Amazon.
Yes. Hey, tomorrow, follow them. Tune in 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Their IG Live. You can go to any page, either one of their pages. Good content, great content, and you will leave there laughing and having some deep thoughts about some things. I'll just say that. So, yeah, it's excellent IG Live. Hey, anything else y'all want to share before we get out of here?
No, I want to say thank you, man. Like 100%. Thank you for having us on, man. This was it's good. Like we mentioned, like you have told us, man, you're doing God's work. We appreciate it, brother. Like 100%. These type of conversations need to be had. Same thing you told us. So we appreciate you, man. Thank you for having us on. 100%.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing your space with us. And we cannot wait to have you back on the Spectrum.
No doubt. Thank you. Y'all take it easy.
All right, brother.
Peace.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you.
All right. And good night, everyone in the chat.
Good night, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you.